I'm Ben Fox, and this is my introductory speech. So, 19 years ago, I was born in Newark, Delaware, and I lived just about as good as a childhood as anybody could have ever asked for. I liked the color blue, I liked to play with Tonka trucks, I had a pet dog named Harry, I had early preschool in Newark, and then when I was just before me and my sister were in first grade, me and my parents moved to southeastern Pennsylvania in a little town called West Grove to try and get me and her into a better school system. Early schooling was never too much of an issue for me. I never really struggled with it all that much. I also never excelled in it, and that sort of led through into middle school and even high school. So my middle school days, again, academically never stood out to me. I never had super high grades, I never had super low grades. They were always just sort of there. I just coasted a lot through them. One thing that did stand out a lot to me throughout middle school was my social life. I began to learn how to make friends, and I began to learn how to do a lot of the things that are essential skills nowadays. And I ended up buying something that would change my life for the better in ways that I didn't even realize, which was a skateboard. It taught me a lot about how to get up from failure and a lot of determination, as well as learning me how to make some friends. It was a great tool for me to step into a social circle and have something interesting about myself to talk about, instead of just sort of not doing much and being one of those people who floated around without doing anything. It really gave me a tool to put myself out there and learn some more social skills, which was much needed. So my high school life was a massive change of pace for me. Going from 8th to 9th grade was a huge jump, and it was something I really wasn't expecting or looking forward to. I was really nervous. Change scared me a lot. But in the long run, it was a really good thing. It led me to look at problems in a new way, and it challenged me mentally, which at this point I love in my life. Through 9th and 10th grade, it was a lot of the more of the same from middle school. A little bit tougher classes and a little bit different socially. It was a lot of new faces that I saw. Junior year was a change of pace for me in a couple different ways. First of all, being it was the first time I actually had to deal with any difficult classes in my life. And second of all, it was COVID-19, which changed everybody in some type of way. I thought it was just going to be a 2-week vacation for me, which then turned into 4 weeks, which then turned into the rest of the school year, and then graduation the next year for my senior year. COVID changed me all for the better in all positive ways. I remember going through the end of my junior year, and it was a lot of the same. I was still pretty stagnant in school. I didn't do a lot. I had a solid job, and I had a good set of friends with a good girlfriend at the time. Everything was amazing through the summer. Then one day in September, school started back up. It was all online. I had a couple college classes. I had a couple high school classes. And I was starting to realize how bored I was. And what helped push that thought was random Thursday in October, I got a breakup text from my girlfriend. So a couple days later, I was missing the fact that I used to be able to entertain myself. So I was laying in bed, sort of miserable. So I got up, I got my keys and my shoes, and I drove over to a bike shop, and I left the bike shop with a really light wallet and a mountain bike. And ever since that first day where I got on that mountain bike and started riding around, I fell in love with it. It was something that I just never stopped doing all throughout the winter. I never got off the bike. It was something that turned into a personality trait for me. I turned into Ben the mountain biker as opposed to just Ben. It was amazing. I even got a job to help me get closer to the sport that I ended up falling in love with. And then one day, towards the end of my senior year, I was waking up and I realized that I had a week left of school. I 5 more days where I get to wake up in my bed and turn my Zoom on and fall back to sleep. Then the week after that was graduation, and what seemed like a blink of an eye was my first day of college, which I fell in love with the first day I've been there. It was also the first day I was back in a traditional classroom setting in almost 2 years, which was a really weird experience, but it felt amazing to have something normal again. I loved the freedom and the mental challenge that college gave me. It was a new experience. No classes had really challenged me like college had before. It was a really engineering focused curriculum that I really enjoyed, just because high school felt so cookie cutter and that everybody was doing the same thing, and college really gave me a taste of some individuality and let me do a lot of the things that I really just wanted to do with schooling, which is just engineering and problem solving. There's a lot of strange faces in September, to a lot of good friends and happy memories to the end. In May, I just finished up my freshman year at Penn State Brandywine as an aerospace engineering major, and I have to say I loved every second of it. Of course, it wasn't all butterflies and rainbows. There was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of really hard classes that sort of beat me down, but I've learned more in this past year through college and through just in-person classes coming back than I have, I think, ever in my